You are watching Melody Lane. With me, you're gonna have a great crafting time.
Hi everyone, it's Melody Lane. I'm going to go through the setup of my gold Cricut Explorer Air. And then we're going to do a Design Space tutorial. This may be a long video, but there's a lot of information in it. And in the description of the video, I will also put links to the different categories that we're going to be going over. So if you already know how to weld, you can skip that part and go to the next one. First, we're going to set up my Bluetooth for my Cricut Explorer Air. This is system preferences from my computer. This doesn't really have anything to do with Cricut or Design Space. But we need to pair my Cricut Explorer to my computer. And because it's a Cricut Explorer Air, it has built-in Bluetooth. But we need to introduce the Cricut to the computer. So I'm going to do that by clicking Bluetooth. And I'm using a Mac, so on a Windows PC, this may be a little bit different. Okay, and this is the Cricut that I want to pair. I know that because it's the only one not connected, and my Cricut is the only one turned on right now. So I'm going to pair. Make sure your Cricut Explorer Air is turned on. You can do the same thing if you have a Cricut Explorer and an adapter. As you can see, there was an error and it couldn't find it, so I'm going to try again. Okay, now it's connected. So that's all we have to do right now for this. So I'm going to exit out of here. And now we're going to go to Cricut Design Space. And I'm going to take you to Cricut Design Space / setup. So I'm just going to type in setup, because this is where you go when you first start your Cricut Design Space. So this is just telling you that it's going to set up your Cricut machine and connect you to Cricut Design Space, and you'll receive your free images this way. So we're going to click on Get Started. And I'm going to sign in. If you have a Cricut account from Cricut Craft Room, or if you've purchased from Cricut.com before, use that same Cricut account. If you don't have a Cricut account, then create a new one. And this shows you how to plug it in. Plug in the square plug into the Cricut Explorer, into the back, right next to the power cord. And then plug in the USB cord to here. I haven't done any of this because I just paired it through the Wi-Fi. Then once you have it plugged in, you can click the power on. So now I'm going to select my Cricut device. And I'm going to select this as the one that I paired. It's the Cricut Explorer Air. And now the continue button came up. Congratulations on your purchase from HSN. It knows where I bought this. Isn't that amazing? So it's telling me what my 3 exclusive Anna Griffin digital cartridges are as a bonus for purchasing this on HSN. Let's click accept. Okay, they designed this project to help you get up and running, and the materials are included. They give you a silver pen and they give you the paper to use also. I've already made this card when I set up my original Cricut Explorer Air. I have a video on making this card. I'll put that up in the upper right hand corner. So I'm going to hit continue, and then it goes and shows you how to do everything with your mat. Setting the paper, it's so easy. You just have to try it. And it shows you how to load your pen. Also, very easy. So this is what they want you to do. You load your mat and you hit go. I'm not going to do this because, as I said, I've done it in another video. And if you want to see that one, you can click up here in the corner. Okay, let's skip this project. I've already set up my Bluetooth connection and I showed you how. So let's start creating. Now this is Design Space. You can just always go to here. What I type in cricut.com/design and it brings me here. There's also a Cricut logo in your taskbar on your computer. You might have had to download a plugin for that. I've already downloaded the plugin. Now let's get started over here. Because it had me sign in, I'm already signed in, but if I wanted to sign out, I would click here. And if I want to calibrate my machine for print and cut, I would click here. I don't need to calibrate my machine because the Cricut Explore Air has already been calibrated for us. Unless there's a problem printing, you don't really need to calibrate if you have the Cricut Explore Air or the Cricut Explore 1. And manage custom materials. I have my dial set on my machine to custom, and this is something you don't really need to do anything with. It lists all the different materials you can cut. So if you're cutting something other than what's on the dial settings, the paper, vinyl, iron-on, light cardstock, and fabric, and poster board, you don't need these. But you can adjust the cut pressure, you can adjust the multi-cut, and the blade type. The blade type is just a guide to let you know what you should use when cutting the different materials. There's also a setting in between each one of these. So there's paper, and then there's a little dot after the paper setting. And it's just a little bit deeper than the paper. And same with vinyl. There's a dot right after the vinyl. So it's kind of in between these two settings. Now let's look at custom materials. It lists all the pressure for custom materials. So if you're cutting something and it didn't quite cut out, you could change the pressure. You can also add material of your own. So if there's something, a brand of paper you like is a different thickness and you know what cuts better, you can add your own. So this is something you don't really need right away, especially when you're just getting started. New machine setup. This takes you to where I took you to at Cricut.com/setup, and it brings you here like I did before. Update firmware. That's not something you need to do with the Cricut Explore 1 or the Cricut Explore Air, only with the original Cricut Explore. And then account details, that will show you your name and email and the credit card you have on file for Cricut Design Space, in case you wanted to purchase something. And then link cartridges. You use this to link a cartridge. Select your Cricut device. You may not have this option if you only have one Cricut paired to it, but I have some other Cricuts paired to it also, so it wants me to choose. You're linking your cartridge to your account, not to your machine. And I can insert a cartridge into the cartridge port on the top of my Cricut Explore Air. Once you put a cartridge in, then you can click this button right down here that says Link Cartridge. It's really easy. It only takes seconds. And then the sign out, as I already explained. Okay, so that's how you set up your Cricut Explore Air. And your Cricut Explore 1 is pretty much the same thing. The original Cricut Explorer is a little bit more difficult. Now, let's look at the Make It Now projects. These will change. They keep adding to them. Look at how awesome. That's cute. I never saw that one. You have to go and look at these all the time. Now you may ask, what is a Make It Now project? It's a project already designed for you. And you just make it now. There's all kinds of categories. You can click the free ones if you want to just choose from the free ones. And if you have the subscription, and if you just signed into Cricut Design Space for the first time and set up your machine, you usually get 2 weeks free. If you bought the Gold Cricut Explorer from HSN, you got 3 months free. So let's click what's in the subscription. There's 916 results. Isn't that amazing? Oh, look at those little bats on the shoes. Okay, guys, if you've watched my videos before, you know I get a little sidetracked once in a while because the things are so cute. Oh, isn't that pretty? I like it. Let's click it. So cute. And look at all these different pictures. So it shows you how to put it on the phone. All the Make It Now projects tell you if it's easy, difficult, hard, tells you how long it takes, approximately, and has a description and who designed the project, the materials you need, and the instructions, and how much it is. You can just click Make It Now, and it's all ready. That is really pretty. I might have to do this one. I have this purple vinyl and this pink vinyl. That might have to be one of my projects. I don't want to make this now, so I'm just going to click the X. But now let's see what happens when we click Customize. That is so pretty. I want to know what canvas was used. Do you see the phone right here? That is there so you can size your images. Let's click Set Canvas. Okay, let's scroll down to the phones. Even has one for the Cricut machine because I need to decorate my new gold one. So it has sizes for all kinds of things. So you can see what it will look like before you start. Here's the smartphones. Now let's click over here on Canvas. I have an Apple. And I have the iPhone Plus. So for me, I would make this a little larger. And I don't want that to go. It shows you where the camera and stuff is. I don't want it there. Maybe I would put it here. I can decide where to put it, and I don't want that there. There. Isn't it cute? So now I've shown you the Make It Now projects and the canvases. Now if I'm ready to go, I can just click the Go button and load up my mats and hit Go. It's that easy. If I wanted to make lots of projects, I would just click this button. Say I want to make 7. So then it's going to put them on the different mats for me. Let me show you a little trick I do. I want to save all my material. I don't want to waste this material on the side. I think I can get that one onto this one. So I have to lie to my Cricut. And I'm going to say I have a 12 by 24 mat. I do have one. I'm not going to use it. Let me do this. Okay, I'm zooming in so I can see it better. I'm on a Mac and I'm hitting Control and scrolling with my mouse. So now I can see that it's kind of flashing? That's the rotate button. And so I'm going to rotate this and go up like this. And let's do the same for this one. I'm going to rotate this and move it up. Okay, and let's count the squares and make sure we have enough room. So this is it's so hard to see the numbers here, so I just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So on a 12 by 12 mat, you can cut 11.5 by 11.5. So there is plenty of room here to still be on the mat. If I wanted, I could even rotate this one, and they'll all fit up here. Let's scroll in again. That will save me some vinyl. So let's put that there, and put that there. There, now I'm ready to cut. And I'm not wasting anything. And again, I'm not actually going to cut this out. I just wanted to show you how you can save space. You can move these around too to save space. I don't know why, but I like to do this. You can spend hours doing this, I think. I just think it's fun to try to save as much space as possible. See, look at that. I saved some space. Now let's go to the file. If you wanted to go back to the Make It Now projects, you can just click here. It's asking me if I want to save this project, and I'm not going to save it. Okay, now here's the Make It Now projects again. If you're here and you want to start a new project, you can just click here. And you start with an empty canvas. You can also go to the file and start a new one here. You don't have to go back to the Make It Now. And then you can go to My Projects, or you can save your projects. You can also click the Save button to save what you have on your screen. Okay, let's go over here to these buttons. This is where you get started. Insert image. You can search among 50,000 plus images. They've been saying 50,000 images for a long time, and they keep having more cartridges come out all the time. So there's plenty of cartridges. Now you'll see on some of these images, they'll say subscribed. I have the yearly subscription. So all of these that say subscribed, I get to use for free as long as I have the subscription. You'll see some that say purchased. You can click on the little I right here, and it will say the name of the image, the hashtag, the number image, and what cartridge it comes on. And it says purchased because I purchased this cartridge. If you're searching for a certain image and you know this number, you can type that right up here and it'll bring you right to that. Now this one says purchased, and it's from the same cartridge as this one that says subscribed. It could be because I purchased this one image for 99 cents before I had the subscription. Look at the switch, it's free. It's by Creative Bug. Now let's say we're not into Halloween or anything, we can go to categories. We can go to free this week, and it'll show you the images that are completely free this week. The Thanksgiving images from a Thanksgiving cartridge. There are always free images in Cricut Design Space. Let's go back to categories. Let's click on most popular. So these are the most popular ones right now. Aren't they so cute? And let's go to recently added. I love these. These are coloring ones. And these are printable ones. So these are their newest added ones. Oh, look at that. I haven't seen that. Love these. That is really pretty. What is that one? Anna's Christmas cards and embellishments. I think I need that cartridge. I think I need it. That's pretty too. There's all kinds of things for you to look at. If you haven't used Cricut in a while, go to the recently added. These are kind of awesome. Okay, let's click the X. And then there's categories. What's in the achievement? That's nice. And some things may be in more than one category. So they have all different kinds of categories. Here's Christmas. There's tons of Christmas. So pretty. And if they're printable images, it'll show a printer right here to let you know it's a printable image. It also cuts it when it's a printable image. So pretty. So there's all kinds of categories, and then there's all kinds of brands. These brands are normally not included in the Cricut subscription. You do not have to subscribe to the Cricut subscription. You can use Cricut Design Space completely free. with all the free images. Okay, let's go back to all images. Now let's go over here to the filter. You can just click My Images, and then it'll show you the images that you own. These are all the new ones I just got because I set up my new Cricut Explore Gold. So I have not even seen these yet. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can watch me do these. Oh, and some of these came with the new Cricut cartridge. Cool, crazy cards. I did this monster one and it came out so cute. So I'm not going to look through these because there's thousands. See, these are mine because I subscribed to them. You won't find this cartridge, Cricut Crazy Cards, because you have to purchase it to even find it in Cricut Design Space. It's from the Cricut Circle. I'll put a link below that will take you to the Cricut Circle if you're interested. Let's go back to the filter. Let's uncheck My Images. And then you can go to just images you've uploaded. But I'll take you there next. It's the next button over here in line. And then free, this takes you to all the free images. So these are free for everybody to use. These are here because they're free for the week. This one may change. It might not be here next week. This one is Cricut Craft Room Basics. This is free for everybody in Cricut Design Space and Cricut Craft Room. This one is also free, Cricut Font and Basic Shapes. And I don't know if these are always free. By the Creative Bug. These calendars have been free. And then these are the basic shapes that are also over here, and I'll show you that too. I make lots of things out of these basic shapes by welding and slicing them together. I'll show you that later. This is another free one. It's called Phone Decals. This is Better Homes and Gardens. It's a new one. I don't know if all of these will always be free, but they'll show you what's free right now. And then it'll show you what's in the subscription and the ones I've purchased. And then you can choose what type you want. And if you want single layer or multi-layer. So let's say I want to click what's in the subscription, and then I'm going to click cards and envelopes. I just want to make a card, and I want what's in the subscription. So I can choose from all of these. There's thousands. It just keeps going and going. So if you're a card maker, you have lots of choices. And this is one of my favorite ones. I've never actually made a card out of this, but I've used these hands and this word in different cards and different objects by slicing it through something else. You don't have to just make a card with these images. Let's narrow this down a little more. I only want to make a single layer card. So here's the cards that are just single layer and envelopes. There's not as much to choose from because most cards have more than one layer. These are just easy for me if I'm a beginner and want to make a quick card. So that's how you use the filter. Let's reset all. So we're back. You can also change the size. If you have a smaller screen and want to see the images better, you can click over here on this. So you can see the images bigger. This card is so cute. Let's go ahead and bring this card in. So to bring the card onto the canvas, I'm going to click this. I'm going to click it and make sure there's a little green in the corner with the check mark. It'll also show you it down here. If I change my mind and don't want it, I can unselect it here. Or just click it again up here and unselect it. But maybe I've decided to choose lots of images. Oh, how cute. Okay, and I've changed my mind and I don't want to do all these. Instead of going up and finding what I have checked, I can just X them out here. Okay, I'm bringing him in too. He's so cute. Okay, now I'm going to click Insert Image. And I'm going to click on the Layers panel. Here is the Layers panel. Here's the Edit panel, the Sync panel, and the canvases. I've already shown you the canvases. Let's go back to the Layers panel. Now, where's this guy at? Can't find him. There he is. Because all the images come in about the same size and on top of each other. So this is kind of small for a card, don't you think? It's just over 2 inches. You can see the exact measurements here. I want to make it bigger. Let's move him over to the side. And let's just stretch this out. I want to make the height to be 5.5. I'm going to make this 5.5 and hit enter. So this would be an A2 size card because from here to here, it would be like a 4.25, and here to here is like 5.5. So now you're a beginner and you're not sure what to do. Let's go to the Layers panel. For now, I'm going to put an eye out on this little guy because I just want to play, ooh, he's naked, with the card first. If there's anything you ever want to hide and not cut, you just click the little eye and click it back again when you're ready for it. I'm going to click Go. So now this is telling me to put my black paper on the mat. I don't have to use a 12 by 12 paper. I can just use an 8.5 by 11 paper. Have it go over to the 11 inches and down 8.5. And you can use any color you want. This is just the suggestion. And I'll show you how to change the colors in the canvas. And then you put your green paper there. And you can change the size of the paper. So say you're only using a 6 by 6 paper, you can place it there and it shows you where to place it. And the same with this one. And then you just hit go. I'm selecting my Cricut device because I have more than one to choose from. So now it's telling me to load my paper. And I have my dial set to custom settings. I'm going to change that and move it back to cardstock. So it tells me my dial position is on cardstock. And it's ready to load the mat. And the light on my load button on my gold Cricut is blinking. It's the same thing for everyone. Once it cuts one out, then it'll go to the next one. If you wanted to skip the mat, you could just click here to go to the next one, or you can just click the one you want over here. We're not going to cut out this time. Do you want to cancel this cut? Yes. In the Layers panel, you can change the color of any image. You just click on the image over here in the Layers panel. So let's say I want to put that on white. Well, you can't see white very well, so let's change it. Okay. You can also change the color by moving this. You can also move this up or down too to find the perfect color. If you know the exact number of the color you want, you can type it in. Like I just did. This is for the color white. This one, this is just the score line. You see over here, it's highlighted in blue. And right here, it's showing you it's a score tool. Let's click on this one. This one is showing you it's everything that's highlighted here in the blue. And it's green. We can change the color. Oh, we don't want to change it to white. See how that works? And the same with the purple. And again, you can change it here to anything you want. And just click off of it when you're done. So now I want to select this because this is an image set that's grouped together. I want to ungroup it. Ungrouping means I can move it around. Let's say I want to see what this looks like without that green layer. Or I just want to do this one. Or I just want to move them out of my way. Maybe I want to hide these layers and just use the card base by itself. Click the eye back and bring them back. And see, the score line is attached. What if I don't want the score line there anymore? I can click detach. I have to have this selected. As you can see, it won't let me select attach or detach. If I have something selected that has something attached, it will let me detach. So now I can move around the score line. And notice when I click different images, it kind of highlights them over here and brings them to the top if they were hidden. Let me show you what the contour feature does. We'll get to all these buttons. Because I detached this, it brings it up to the top. Anytime you change something, it kind of brings that up to the top. As you can see, it's over here. I want to work on this one, and I'm moving it around and I can't see it. So I'm going to click on Arrange. And I have this orange piece selected, so I'm going to move that to the front. So now I'm going to show you how contour works. Click the contour button. First, you have to have something selected, though. It's not lit up because I don't have it selected. Click it. Click contour. And then it highlights the different cuts. See, as I move around, if I click now, because that's darker, it's going to disappear. And that one. Now let's see, just click off of the image and they're gone. Let's try that again. Now if I want to bring them back, I just hit contour and bring them back. Let's do it again. Now it did all these letters, but you have to do the I also. Isn't that cool? Oh, you know what I did? I got rid of the whole outside also. So now these pieces will cut out all by themselves and not in one piece. I don't want that. Let's click contour again and click here and it'll bring it back. There we go. So now I would like you to pause the video, get into Design Space and play around a little. Insert an image and size it and see if you can contour it. Change the color of it, just play. That is the easiest way to learn, is just play, push buttons, you're not gonna break it. Okay, now let's go over the little handles and what those mean. This one is for sizing, to drag it, smaller or larger. And it will show you right there in the corner the width and height. If I just want to make it shorter, I have to unlock this handle, the little padlock. So I can then squish it up, make it taller, make it skinny or fat. With this locked, it'll stay at this proportion. This one in the right-hand corner will rotate it. If you hold down your shift key while you're rotating, it will lock at the certain angles. And it tells you what angle it is. That's a 45-degree angle. That's a 315 angle. 270, 180. So you can just sit and spin if you like. And then this one, what do you think that does? It deletes it. If you deleted it and you don't want to delete it, you can always click the undo button and it will bring it back. The undo button is a very important button. We need that button, especially when welding and slicing. We'll get to those later. Okay, let's get rid of everything here. Because we've ungrouped everything, it's all separate. Let's bring these back. This little cute guy. When you're first starting out with Cricut, I would suggest to just get an image like the card we just looked at or something like this and just hit go and practice. So there's a shadow and there's his little eyes and I don't know what those are, maybe his feet or his shoes. Isn't he just so cute? Look at those hands. Like I showed you before, I would save space. Rotate them. Actually, put those here. You could probably put his head in between his hands. Something like that. You can move it around and save space. But let's go back. Isn't it easy? All you have to do is find the image, insert the image, size it, and hit go. And then load your mat. And then put the pieces together. Let's ungroup these. You don't have to ungroup them. I just want to ungroup them to show you the different layers. These little cuts are only here so you know how to put it together. That you know this will go right there in between those little cuts. And these are here, these up here are here, so you know right where to put these. So Cricut makes it pretty easy to learn. And these little lines here, see that one and that one? You can line up the ears. So you know right where to put them. And then the hands. They made the hands separate than that, so you can put the hands on top. But the body will be behind it. The body you will only see through the holes right up here, and then the shoes. And then here's the face. The eyes get lined up right there, and then the little hat, or this goes here, and then this goes behind it all. So this would be your bottom layer, and then you just layer everything on top of here. And once you have everything cut out and you're not sure where the pieces go, you can just look at the image and look over here and what order they're in. The hands are on top, and then that, and then that, then the next layer, and the next layer. So actually, you'd be starting from the bottom and work your way up. So you know what images go on first. Pause the video, take a little break, and put something together if you've never used Cricut Design Space before. Just do what I did, or pick your own image. And remember, you can change the color. Kind of like that. It looks like monster teeth, because the little kid is in the mouth of this sea monster costume. And it doesn't matter what color you really choose on here. You don't have to choose specific colors. You just have to pick out your paper, and you put whatever paper you want on the mat. Let me show you how to make any image into a print and cut image. That means it'll print this and cut around the edge. Anytime you print something, it will also cut it. This is all grouped together. If it's not grouped together, all you have to do is drag a box around it and click group. Right down here. This says ungroup because it's already grouped. So if I ungroup it, separates all the pieces. Or I can group it again. Click group. Puts them all together and says group. It's going to cut all these layers out separately. I want to print them. Select it. It selects all the layers because they are grouped together. And then I'm going to click on flatten. Flatten will flatten all these layers into one layer. And it'll show it exactly as you see here. It'll print it exactly as you see it here. So if you want to change any of the colors, you have to do that now before you flatten it. If you wanted this red, you'd have to do that now. I don't want that red. I'm going to undo. So let's select it. And you know it's selected because of the box around it all, and all the layers are highlighted. And then click flatten. Now, you see it says flatten set, and it's only one layer, and the little printer right here. And it looks a little different. You don't see the dark lines around it. What happens when we hit go? So now it shows the registration marks, and when we hit go, it's going to send it to our printer. So I selected the Cricut I'm going to use, and then I click print page. And I can just click print, or I click this, print using system dialog. I think it depends on what printer you use. And then this pops up. And then I can set it to print how I want it. I like to go to print settings. And I usually print on cardstock, so I choose this. And I can change the print quality. Also, make sure if you have this, it's at 100%. You don't want to print it any smaller or any larger, otherwise your Cricut machine will not be able to read the registration marks. And then all I have to do is print. So once I print it, I put it on the mat and load it into my Cricut. It's that easy. Once I hit the load button on my Cricut and then click the go button, it'll start reading the registration marks. So that's how you can flatten an image to make it print. Let me show you what happens sometimes. Okay, so I just brought another one in. Can you see the difference? This is the printed one I flattened, and this is the one I have not flattened. You can see the difference over here, the flattened one and the non-flattened one. I'm going to set it to print in a different way, just so you can see the difference. I'm going to click this layer. This is the bottom layer. And I'm going to go up here and change it to print right here. And now you see it has a printer icon right next to it instead of the scissors like all the other ones. Let me show you what's going to happen here when we hit go. So now it's going to print the one that we had already set up and flattened. And it's only going to print the background and cut out the background. And then this is just paper we have to cut out like we did before. Let me show you again. Let's click this one, change it to print. This one, change it to print. You know what? Let's just go ahead and change all these to print. So I can show you how that works. Okay, now they look similar, except for this one I changed his teeth to white and this one I haven't. It looks pretty similar, right? Let's hit go, see what happens. Okay, now it's gonna print all of these separate. And as you can see, it's kind of a little fuzzy. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. Can you see how these pieces are a little fuzzy around the edges, even in the holes? That is because of the bleed. Bleed is something you do want to keep on. And it's right here in the settings, bleed for print and cut. You do want to keep that on. Some people have said, but their words are blurry. Well, that's because they weren't flattened to an image. You can see you can't see the little points here that were on his tail. They're not very pointy like they were in the picture before. But once it's cut, it will be cut with the points. The bleed is like an insurance that it will cut out properly without seeing any of the white paper. So once it cuts out, it'll be perfect. Well, this one will be. This one's going to cut out each of these images separately, which is great if you don't have any colored paper. If you just have white paper, then do it like this if you want to put the pieces together. Otherwise, you need to flatten them all together. Okay, so what we need to do here is, because it was still grouped, I've never ungrouped this one. All the layers are selected and they're all set to print, but this does not look like this. We need to get it as one flattened image. So let's click flatten. There we go. Now it will print out properly how we want it to. There we go. I just brought him out. Now I want to show you something else about print and cut. I'm going to print on this one. This is his outfit. As you can see, it's highlighted in blue. I'm going to change it to print. And now we're going to look at the patterns. As you can see, the colors are highlighted. There's a line underneath the colors, and then we can choose any color we want. But I want to do a pattern. So I'm going to click here in patterns. You have many, many patterns to choose from. Some have a price, some are free, or you can upload your own. I'll show you how to upload your own when I go to the upload images. What is this one? Oh, now that looks great with his little costume. Isn't that cute? We can also edit this. Let's make him bigger so we can see it better. Okay, now go back here. Let's go down to the edit. We can change how the pattern looks. You can change it horizontally, you can move it. You can also change it vertically. And rotate it. And you can flip it around too. I kind of like it better. The pattern's smaller. Doesn't that look awesome? Let's go down here to these buttons and see what they do. You click here to find your collections. There are seamless ones. This means you won't see any lines at the edge of the image. And contemporary. Some of them are in different categories. Floral. This is something you'll just have to go and look at all of the different ones. Then there's themes. And then all the Imagine cartridges are also here. And then you can click Clear All, so you go back to the original ones. And you can click here and filter. If you want your patterns, these are the patterns you can use for free, or uploaded, or ones you purchased, some in the subscription and some that are just free. Or you can choose by color. And if you don't want any pattern, you can just click Restore. I really like that one. This pattern is not a seamless pattern, as you can see a little white line there. There. I like it like that. I can't see that line anymore. I'm going to select him again, and I want to print him out like I do these. So I'm going to click Flatten. I'm just going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to hit Go. Isn't he cute? I love this one. So now it's going to print out just like that. The possibilities here are endless. Now let me show you how it's going to cut. If I turn bleed off, it'll show you where it cuts, but like I said, I always leave bleed on. It cuts out perfectly that way. There's how it looks without the bleed. And that's how it will look when it actually cuts. And there it is with the bleed. This is a great time to pause the video, go back and play in Design Space. Play with the patterns and make different patterns in different images. We've already gone through Insert Image. Let's go down to the next button, Upload Image. There's lots of questions on this one. Now you have two options. Here is where you can upload a basic image or vector image. So this includes JPEG, GIF, PNG, BMP, SVG, or DXF files. Over here is where you upload patterns, if you want to use them for the print and cut. Right now, we're going to go to Upload Image. So I'm going to click Browse, and I'm going to go to my downloads. So I'm going to click on this image, which is something I just took with my phone of something that I painted. You might have seen this in my color burst video. You can see how it looks different with the simple image, the moderate image, and the complex image, because there are lots of different shades in this picture. So I'm going to go ahead and choose simple image, and I'm going to click Continue. I'm going to zoom out so we can see the whole image. Now there's lots of different ways to clean this up. All I want is this image here, the purple, the dark purple. First, I'm going to click Crop because I don't need the entire image. Drag this out over here. And down to the bottom. Now let's zoom out again. Now, if this background was one color, all we'd have to do is click this magic wand right here and click the background. If it was all one color, but it's many colors, as you can see, so that doesn't work. I'm going to go to Undo, and I think I'm going to click over here to Advanced Options. So I can reduce the amount of colors, so I can do it much easier. Let's click 2, see what happens. That looks much better. Okay, so now let's take the magic wand and remove the background. So now it got rid of everything that was in that green color that was touching. You can still see some of the green here because it had purple all the way around it. So anything it was touching that was green was erased. Now you can still see there's still more here. Let's zoom in a little. You can see a little bit over here also needs cleaning up. That's also easy to do. Just click the eraser and you can see the circle. That's how big the eraser is. Let's make it a little bit bigger. To erase, you just hold down the left mouse button and drag and then let go. Let's get rid of this. Okay, I want to erase a little more. Let's erase these spots here. Remember, If you accidentally go like this and erase all you have to do is click undo. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it closer up. So now I need the eraser to be a little smaller. Go just a teeny bit smaller. I took off just a little bit too much, so I'm going to undo. Let's make the eraser a little smaller. Let's fix this here. That shouldn't be there at all. But it was in my picture. Now over here you can see there's some green because I didn't have solid purple when I painted. I used a texture paste to paint this and a stencil. Let's look at the preview. Okay, it looks okay, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and click on continue. Now here it shows me what it will look like as a print and cut image. Notice it kept the purple color. And here's what it looks like as a cut image. It's pretty much the same except for the color. And if it's a cut image, you can make it any color you like. So I think I'm just going to keep it as a cut image. And you can name it whatever you like and add tags to it. I'm just going to click save. And you can see it here. So I'm going to go ahead and load this onto my canvas. And that's what it'll look like if I cut it out. If I wanted to print this, all I would have to do is click here and click print. Now if I wanted to, because I made it a print image, I could click a pattern. Let's try this one. So it would print and cut like that. I don't think I like that one. I think I can upload a prettier pattern. Okay, I'm going to upload another kind of image, something that I would want to print and not cut. Let's go here and we're going to browse our computer. And it's in my downloads. And I think it's this picture I just took from my Facebook page. It's from a recent crafting event cropped to it. I'm going to keep it as a complex image and click continue. This is a picture of George Schneider and Cricut. We had a lot of fun at our event. Okay, first I'm going to crop it. So all I need is, there we go. Let me see if I can get rid of the background here. No, that got rid of part of his face. So we want to undo that. So I'm going to take the eraser and erase around the edge that I want to get rid of. And I'm not doing this very well, but you will see. Right here is where I really want to get it, just so it doesn't get rid of his eye right there. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the magic wand and click over here. Now I'll go back and clean that up a little better. Okay, that's better. Okay, now we have to go to erase, and I'm going to zoom in. And let's make the eraser big. You can see part of his head is removed on here, and I'm just going to make his head a little smaller in this picture. Okay, let's make the eraser smaller. Okay, now I'm going to hit preview. So that's what it looks like if it's going to be cut out and not print and cut and not print and cut. This is what it'll look like if it's printed. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so now Cricut let us see what it's going to look like as a print and cut and as a cut. I've had many questions from people saying when they change their image to a cut, it's all grayed out. Well, that's because it just cuts the outside. We only cleaned up the outside. It only knows where to cut where we cleaned it up. So I'm going to upload this one as a print and cut because I can always change it to a cut afterwards. After it prints, it's going to cut the outside to look just like this. So I'm going to change the name of this to George and Cricut and click Save. So there it is. But first, I'm going to show you how to upload a PNG file that doesn't have a background. It's actually this one right here. This is a pumpkin I drew and colored in with markers. But let's show how I got that. Back to the screen and back to Browse. That pumpkin actually comes free in my Elvira digital paper set. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to scroll down to where it says Pumpkin PNG. So I want to keep this just as it is. So we're going to bring it in as a complex image. So let's hit continue. And it's kind of big. So let's zoom out. Okay, here's where we could clean it up as I did in the last picture. But because you see checkerboard here, it's already cleaned up. So let's hit continue. So again, it shows you what it looks like as a print and cut, or you can save it as a cut image. I suggest save it as a print and cut. And it's already named pumpkin. So now let's upload another image, an SVG image, and we'll see the difference from just the regular images. So let's click Browse again. This time we're going to get an SVG. And I'm just going to go to my desktop where I saved my SVG to. So let's save. Notice there wasn't anything to clean up. It didn't even give me the option. Let's go ahead and bring these onto the canvas. Okay, some of these are pretty big. And you can see, because it's an SVG, it has more than one part. You can ungroup it, just like the Cricut images. You can also hide images. So you can hide that background. An SVG knows the different parts of a cut. So that's the difference of uploading an SVG and a picture. The picture, notice over here, it's only one picture. It doesn't have different parts. So all the Cricut knows is to cut the outline. Now let's say I don't want this as a print and cut. As I'm asked many times, I want to just change it to cut. So many times people say, but I just want to cut it out. I don't want to print it. Well, it's only going to cut the outline. It's not going to cut all these different layers. As you can see, it's only one cut image. Just because it says print, it will still cut. So let's go ahead and click the picture. Now here, we can change it to cut. And it will change it to gray. You then can change it to any color you like or put any paper in you want. But it's not going to cut out what you think it will cut out. It's only going to do the outline. Let's change that back to print. There, now the picture comes out. When uploading an image like this, you want to save it as print. If you wanted to cut out all the different layers, like if you wanted to cut out the eyes, you upload it again and clean everything up except for the outline of the eyes. So it would be only that part. If you wanted the inner part, you'd have to upload it one more time and get rid of everything except for the black part of the eyes. And you'd have to do that with every new color. I just think it's easier to print it than cut it. And the same with this. This will print like this, but if you don't want to print it, you can change it to cut. But it will only do the outside, as you can see there. Okay, now let's upload again, because I really don't like the pattern in this one, and I have one in mind. So we're going to go to Upload Images, but this time we're going to go to Pattern Fill. I'm going to browse my computer again. I have digital paper that I downloaded. So let's find that. I'm going to go into my digital paper sets. The Sherry digital paper set. And if you purchase my digital paper sets, you get PNGs and JPEGs. When uploading to Cricut Design Space, my digital paper is high quality digital paper and some of the images are pretty big. So when uploading to Cricut Design Space, I suggest you use a JPEG and not the PNG. I also suggest you use the 12 by 12. So I think I'm going to upload this one. This digital paper piece is called Sherry number 5 and it's 12 by 12. And I'm going to click Summer. And this has a little texture in it. And it's also more rainbow. It has multiple colors. So we're going to click Save. So you will not see the pattern fill here. So let's go back to the canvas by clicking on the upload image. Let's go back to this one. We want to click the picture to bring up the patterns. Now I want to go to Filter to find the pattern I just uploaded. Let's click Uploaded. Now this is another one here with pumpkins, but I want to use this one. Look how pretty. Okay, that looks so pretty. Now this will print and cut, and it's going to cut out each tiny little circle. That's not something that would be done very easy. So I think I'm going to flatten it to a circle. So I'm going to click on the next button, Insert Shapes. Now let's make the circle large enough to cover it. Now we can't see it, so we need to go to Arrange and move this to the back. Okay, I want to get it in the center of the circle. So I'm going to select my medallion and my circle, and I'm going to go to Align, and I'm going to click Center. So it puts it right in the center of the image. Not sure what color I want this. That's pretty. That really brings out the color. I think I like that better than white. But also, if it was white, it doesn't really print white because our printer doesn't have white ink. So it'll just print on the paper, and I could cut out around this with scissors if I wanted to, but I really like the black. I think that looks the best. If I want this to print on top of that, I have to select them both again. And I can select this, hit Command, and select this. And you have to check that they're both selected, as you can see here. Or you can drag a box around both images, like that. And as you can see, they're both selected too. The circle is still as cut. We don't need to change that to print. All we need to do to make them print on top of each other is to click Flatten. So now, as you can see, they're one image, and they're going to print together. If you wanted to try to upload some digital paper, you can go to my site, melodylanedesigns.com. That's it right here. And I have digital paper for free. So here's my site, and this video here shows you how to use digital paper. But let's go back up to the catalog, and I'll show you where to find the free one. Here are all my different sets. And my free one is called Sample. Here it is. As you can see, it's totally free. And it shows you what you get here. And all of my sets, except for this one, you get them in 2 sizes. This one is a free sample. You don't get 12 by 12 and 8.5 by 11, but you can still use them and try them out. See if you like them. It's absolutely free, no credit card needed. This is one of my favorite ones. How pretty. And these have a watermark on them. They won't have a watermark when you download them. So why don't you go try to upload some patterns and upload some images and just try it out before you go any further. Okay, now we're going to go to the next button, Insert Shapes. These are free shapes and a score line that you can use to make almost anything. If you are a subscriber to my channel and watch my videos, you'll know I use these shapes a lot. And while using these shapes, I'm going to go ahead and just throw a few shapes on, and we're going to show you how to align, how to weld, and how to slice. How to insert pattern. Again, as I showed you before, you can use these to drag it to any size. You can click the little padlock so you can make it any way you want it. See that? You click over here in the Layers panel, you can change it to any color you like. Remember, you can click down here, change the color. You can click this, change the color here. Let's make it brighter. I like bright colors. Make it pink. And let's just do something with this one. I'll make that one purple. Okay, I'm going to show you how to duplicate. So I have this selected. And over here, I have this on the Layers panel. You have to click the Layers panel, not the Edit panel. The Layers panel. And then down here at the bottom, you'll see Duplicate. It's these two little cards with stars on them. So I'm going to click that once. If you want more than one, you can click it more. And it will duplicate. Let's change the color of this. So I'm going to show you something else. Over here, we have the layers. We've already been through a lot of that. And then we have Edit, seen a lot of that also. Now let's go to Sync. Sync is something that will make the colors the same. So I can drag one of the circles down here to the pink one so it'll match. Now I'm going to make this a little smaller. And I want to put this inside that circle so it's perfect. Now I can try to look at it and get it, but it's not going to be perfect. So I'm going to drag a box around them both and look in the Layers panel to make sure they're both selected. So yep, I have them both selected. And you have to do that to make sure they're both selected because look, if I just click this outer purple circle, it looks like they're both selected, just the same as it looked a minute ago, but only this one is highlighted. See how this one is not? So let's do it again. I need to drag a box around them both completely, and they're both selected. This is the #1 problem people have when they want to flatten or attach or slice or weld. They don't have them both selected. That's why I go over that many times. Make sure they're both selected. So now that they're both selected, I'm going to go up here to Align. Align is right next to the Go button. I'm going to click that and I'm going to click Center. There, I almost had it perfect. It moved just a teeny bit. I'm going to move this over. I can move them both because they're still both selected. And I'm going to show you other ways to align. You can align them both to the left. So it's like that. Center horizontally. That's kind of the same with center, the way they are right now. But you'll notice that can be different depending on your images. And align right. It moves it over to the right. So they're totally even across this side. Now let's select them both again because they let go. And align top. So it moves it to the top. It doesn't move it in the center to the top because we had it to the right. So we told it to align to the right and then we told it to align to the top. So that's what happened. Now if we want to center it horizontally, now it moves to the center of the top. If we want to move it center vertically, it's going to move it down. And because it was in the center, it's in the center again. Let's move it to align left. Now let's move it to center vertically. It stays in the same place because it was in the center and to the left. Okay, now let's try to slice. I want to slice these two images out. But you know what? I'm going to move this over a little. And I'm going to stretch it out because I see an image I want to make. So now, let's select those both, and I want to slice them. I have the options over here in the Layers panel to slice, weld, attach, flatten, or contour. Right now, I want to slice. Okay, it made these. Now I made a moon. The only way to unslice is to click Undo. It's all back to normal. Let me show you what happens when you weld it. It makes it one image all of the same color. There is no way to unweld, so you do have to hit the Undo button. And now it's unwelded again. Now let me show you what happens when you click attach. Attach puts them as the same color because they're going to go on the same mat because they're attached. So this is going to cut out of this. So you can't separate them now, but you'll still have that moon shape. And then you'll also have this oval shape. There's lots of reasons to use attach and slice and weld, and we'll be going to those in just a few minutes. Okay, let's play with these a little bit. Let's select a box around them, click Align, and distribute horizontally. It's going to put them evenly on the canvas from where I had this one started and this one started. Let's mess them up a little bit. Let's put a box around them. Now let's go to distribute vertically. It's not going to change where they are at horizontally. It's just going to distribute vertically. So they're even from the top to the bottom. Let's distribute horizontally. Now let's align them center horizontally. So they're all even that way. Let's undo. Now let's center vertically. So they're all in a straight line again. This will come in handy many times in the future playing with Cricut Design Space. Okay, let's look at slice a little bit more. I'm going to insert an image, a square. Okay, and I want to change this to a rectangle. And I want it on the back. So we're going to click Arrange and Send to Back. And I'm going to select all these circles again. I'm clicking each one while I hold down my Command key on the Mac. I think it's the Control key on a PC. So I'm going to move this up. And I want to slice these circles out of the background. But there's a problem. The slice button is not lit up. You can only slice 2 images at a time. So I can select one, hit my Command key, and select the background. And as you can see, I have 2 selected, so it lets me slice. When you slice, weld, or attach, it brings your images to the top. So this is on the top of the other circles. They're still there. So let's click Arrange and move it to the back again. There they are. Okay, now let's click this. Move this out of the way. And I can move this out of the way because I sliced a hole through it. Now, if I didn't want to do this one by one, especially if you're using text, and we'll get to text next, I want to slice these out without having to do it one by one and doing it over and over. So I'm going to select both these circles. I'm hitting my Command key and selecting them both. As you can see, they're both selected. Always look over here and make sure it's true. And then I'm going to weld these. It does say I can slice them, but I'm only selecting these 2. They're not even touching. They're not going to slice through anything. So let's select Weld. It doesn't look like Weld did anything, but it did. Weld makes them one image. As you can see here, it says welded image, and you can see the 2 circles. I cannot move them separately. They only work together. I cannot separate them unless I click undo, or unless I take another square and slice out that circle. But now I can select this and the background, and now the slice is lit up, so I can do 2 at a time. So let's slice. So now I have these. And these are also welded images. Let me show you how to separate them if you want to. Okay, let's move that up. Let's click another square. Let's make the square big enough to cover that. So I'm going to select the square, and I'm also going to select the double circles. Even though I can't see it, I could arrange it and move the square to the back, but it's really not necessary. Let's click Slice. So now it's sliced through, and now I separated my circles. Okay, let's get rid of some of this. Actually, I want to get rid of all of this, so I'm just going to go, I don't want to save any of it. I'm just going to go up here to the file, and I'm going to click New. It's going to ask me if I want to save my project, and no, I don't. Okay, now let's make a card with the score line. So I'm going to add a rectangle, and I'm going to add the score line. Here's the score line, And when moving the score line, never put the score line on one of the grid lines. You'll lose it. Put it in between the grid lines. I'm just going to move it over here. Now, to make an A2 sized card, we need to undo this. And I'm just going to go to the Edit panel. And because my little padlock is unlocked, I can make it a rectangle. So I'm going to make it an A2 sized card. So I'm going to make the width 8.5. And I'm going to make the height 5.5. You just type it in and click enter. I want to put the score line in the center. So I'm just going to put a box around them both. I'm going to go up to a line and click center. So it puts it right in the center for me. I don't have to mess with it, although it's not big enough. So let's go ahead and click Align Top. Now it's at the top right where I need it. So I'm just going to select my score line. I'm going to go over here to the Layers panel. They're both selected and I just want to select the score line. So I can click it over here to grab it because it's kind of hard to grab sometimes. And I'm going to undo the padlock and I'm just going to drag this straight down without moving it. So now it's long enough. So we have our score line in the center, so it will score our card. But there's still one problem. Look what happens when we hit go. It has the card here, but there's no score line. The score line is over here all by itself. It's going to score right there. Design Space moves everything into the top left corner of your mat to save material. Well, that's not what we want. So let's go back. We want the score line to be right here where we placed it. But we have to tell that to Design Space. So let's drag a box around them both so it selects them both. As you can see, they're both selected. Now we need to attach. So now it says Attach Set. And we can move this around and the score line moves with it. And to make sure it's attached, we can also go to Go. And now it puts them both in the same mat. Make sure you remember to put your score tool in, and then when it's done scoring, it's going to go ahead and cut this out. If you want to put layers to your card, it's really easy. This is how I do it. I just click a square, brings in another square, but I like to use a different color just so it's easier to see. Okay, and I'm going to drag this up. I want it to be about right there. This is the front of the card. If I fold this back, so this is the back. Or you can make this the front of the card. It doesn't matter because they're the same size. And they're not going to cut out on top of each other. They're just going to cut out on the mat and you place them where you want. So we're going to click the padlock and unlock it. And then I'm just going to drag this to where I want it to be. If you know specific measurements you want, you can always go to the Edit panel and put them in specifically what you want. You can also add more shapes. These are all free images. Let's unlock this. And I want that to go across there. Let's change that color. And then the heart. You can see the heart is behind there, but I think I want it on the front. So I could select this stripe and go to Arrange, and I could just move it backward. That will move it backward just one step. There we go. Or I could have hit the heart and moved the heart to the front. If you wanted the paper to have a pattern, I could click that. As you can see, it selected it over here and there's a box around it. I think I want to put a pattern in there instead of just using paper. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to change it to print. And I'm going to click on patterns. And I'm going to click on my uploaded ones. I only have a few right now, so I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to edit that. I think I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to change the color of this to purple. See how easy that was to do? And it doesn't cost you anything. These images are absolutely free. Okay, now I'm just going to delete this. And I'm going to add a diamond. And I'll show you how you can make different things by welding. Make this a little skinnier. I did something like this in one of my other videos. Let's go ahead and go down here. We're on the Layers panel, so we're going to go down to Duplicate. And we can make a flower with this. Actually, I didn't need to duplicate this that many times because I'm going to select just these two and I'm going to center horizontally to make sure they're right on top of each other. And they're touching right there. I'm going to make them weld. So now this is one image. Let's change the color of this. Get yellow. Let's move these out of the way. And let's duplicate this. Okay, now I want to rotate them. Actually, let's align them, center. They're all on top of each other. See, they're all there. I don't want them all selected though. So let's just click one. As you can see, there's only one selected. And we're going to rotate it. And if you click your shift key while you rotate, it will rotate to certain angles and kind of lock. So I'm holding down my shift key and turning it, and it kind of locks right there. I think I need another one of these. Let's duplicate. And I'm going to put it right on top of that last one so I know it's even. And I'm going to duplicate, or I'm going to rotate it again. There. Now I have a star. And I selected all 4 of the pieces, and now I'm going to weld it. And now I made a star out of my free shapes. Let's duplicate this again and change the color. And I want to put this one in the back. So move to the back. But let's rotate this. I want to rotate it like that. Now it kind of looks like a flower. Let's select this again and duplicate again. Let's make it a little smaller. And should we rotate it a little? Yeah. Let's rotate it like that. Let's change the color. I want it to match, but be a little darker maybe. Okay, I don't like this one. Okay, now the bottom one is down here. And we'll move that up a little further. There we go. Now let's add a circle. And that's kind of like a flower. So I was just trying to show you can make lots of different things with just the free images. Okay, now let's start over with a new canvas. Now let's go over the text. So we went over insert images, upload images, and insert shapes. If you want to go back to any of those, in the description of this video are links on different areas where you can find those. So let's click Add Text. Now here is where you need to start typing. So I typed I love Cricut. This is a free font you can use with Cricut. It also has a background. The background is usually hidden, so you can see it in the Layers panel. But this isn't the font I want. I want to choose another one. Just go up to the Edit panel, and it tells me what font it is right here. Cricut Alphabet. I can change that to be bold. Let's change it back to regular, and I'm going to show you a secret. Okay, that's it again with the background hidden. Like I said, it's always hidden until you unhide it. I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to go to the Layers panel, click Duplicate. So now I have 2. Now I'm going to go to the Edit panel, and I'm going to change one of them to bold. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger so you can see it better. So I'm going to select them both. They'll both get bigger at the same size together because I have them both selected. Okay, so I'm just going to click somewhere else so they're both not selected. I'm going to make this bold I love Cricut as the outline. So I'm going to click Arrange and move it to the back. Now I'm going to click on the red one and move it over that one. Now, as you can see, the E is perfect. And each letter will fit over them perfectly. Let's unlock this padlock and move these over. To get them all perfectly, you'll need to separate the letters. But I just wanted to show you that you can do that. Okay, now let's go back to show you the different fonts. You can click All Fonts, and there's a drop-down menu right here. So you can choose All Fonts, System Fonts. System Fonts means only fonts that are installed on your computer. Or you can just choose from Cricut fonts. And then it'll list only Cricut fonts. You can also do fonts with just a single layer or fonts that have a writing style. So for right now, let's choose System Fonts. And because we did have a Cricut font, it changed it to system fonts. When sharing a Design Space file with your system fonts, somebody else might not have the same font and it'll change it. And when saving it and opening it up on the iPad or phone app, it will also change it if you don't have those installed on those machines. And the more system fonts you have installed, the longer it takes for them to come up. So these are all the fonts I have on my computer. So you can change to any of these. That one might not be a good one. It has lots of little cuts in it. Let's go back to Cricut fonts. Those are my favorite. So now it just used the top font on the Cricut fonts. So let's click here and see our list. Now this will show you all the fonts you have. If you don't own them all, it shows you how much they are. And you can use that font without paying until you want to cut it or print it. Let's just choose this one. A Child's Year. Now let's look in the Layers panel. This one doesn't have a background. Let's change it to writing style. I love the writing style. Not every Cricut font has a writing style. This means it will not cut out. It will write when you put a pen in the Cricut Explorer, any Cricut Explorer. Instead of choosing Cricut fonts, let's choose a writing style. Then it will only show you fonts that have a writing style. The list is not as long. This is one of my favorites. Anna's Fancy Lettering, Victoria. This is one that you have to maneuver the letters so they're closer together. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. The best way to look at these is just to click on the different ones to see what you like best. Okay, let's just play around with this one. This is one image. If we want the letters closer together, we can click on letter spacing and the down arrow and move them closer together. It still doesn't completely help what I want it to do, but I'm going to move them closer together as much as I can this way, and then I'll show you how to fix it. And then line spacing means if there were two lines, I'll show you that in a minute. And then the size is just like dragging this. This will change. And the rotate does the same as this. Undo it just so it goes right back to where it was. And then the position is the position on the mat. You can click this and this will center it and this will make it go right. As I said, that works better when you have more lines of text. And this button will ungroup them. Once you ungroup them, you can no longer change the font. So make sure this is the font you want to use before you ungroup them. You can also do it in the Layers panel and click Ungroup. It does the same thing as this, which this is called Isolate the Letters. It's the same thing. Let's go ahead and click it. Now, if we see in the Layers panel, they're all separate images. And I'm going to click this to select it, and I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard to the left so I don't move it up or down, so it will stay even. Now let's move this one. I like the placement of these three letters right here. I'm going to select those letters by dragging a box around them. And then I'm going to use my arrow keys to move them over so they all move together. I'm going to click this I and move it over just a little bit so it touches the R. And the same with these. And I'm going to put a box around those, and I'm going to move them over with the arrow key on my keyboard. Okay, now I'm going to group these into the different words, so I can move them together if I want. So I'm going to go down here and click Group, and it grouped all these letters together. And I'm going to do the same thing with love. I could do something like this. I love Cricut. Now, I have one problem. Let's get rid of this. I'm actually just going to hide it for now. I might want to use it later. Now, I like the way that looks. So what happens when I hit go? That's not what I want to happen. Let's go back. The reason this happened is because they're not attached. You need to attach them together. Design Space sees these all as individual images. And when you hit go, it's saving space and puts the biggest one first and then puts the smaller ones. So let's select this and click attach. So it'll save them all as they are, like that. Let's hit go. Now it put them all in the corner where it usually does. But I don't want it just to write on the paper because I only have this to write. There's nothing to cut out because I don't have it attached to anything. Let's add a heart. So move the heart up here. Make it big enough so that can write on it. Now let's arrange the heart to the back and let's go ahead and make the heart white. We're not printing anything. It's just going to cut out the heart and write this on it. So I have the words attached and I have the heart. What happens when I hit go? That's not what I want to happen because I didn't attach this to the heart. So to attach it, put a box around all of it and click attach. Now it will do it as I want it to. So it'll write with the pen and then it'll cut out the heart. Okay, let me show you some more with the text. There's lots to learn about text. So I'm just going to say hello. It saved the last font I used. But I'm going to show you something really quick. You could change, because this is on writing and it's a writing style font, you can change the color. So you can change it to red or sour apple or candy crystal. You can change this to any color you want. That doesn't mean that's the color it will write in your Cricut Explorer. You have to put the coordinating pen color in. So you can say it's the midnight black, but it'll write whatever pen you put in your machine. Okay, because I haven't ungrouped this, I can change this in the edit panel. Let's select it. And now I want it to just cut and not write. Let me make it bigger so you can see it better. Let's put these letters closer together. And let me explain something. It looks like the H is really far away from the E, but really it's not. The H ends right here and the E starts right here. That's how this works. The E ends right here and the L starts right there. That's why it looks like they're so far apart. This L starts way over here, but it's really, really close to it. So that's why you have to ungroup them and move them manually. It really doesn't take that much time when you start to do it. I'm just going to leave these as they are. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to ungroup right now. But say I clicked over here. This is as one word because I haven't ungrouped. I'm going to click here and I'm going to change it to right. So now I can change the colors of these. But this isn't written how I had it before. It's going to write this out just as you see it here. It's not going to do the writing style. It will write, but it's going to be like this. It will not be a single line. If I want that, I had to change this to the writing style. Just changing it to write does not change that. I'm going to change it back to cut. I'm going to change the font because I haven't ungrouped it. I'm going to pick a different font and I'm going to show you something else. What about this one? That might be a good one. That's Anna's Fancy Lettering. Carson. I'm going to change this to print. So you just click on the image in the layers panel and you can click on print. You can click on patterns. This says applying a pattern to text converts it into an image. Make sure you have finished editing what you have typed before clicking continue. This means you cannot click this and change the text at all after you add a pattern. By clicking on it, I could change the text. So I'm going to say hello there. Let's go over in the edit panel and show you how this works. I can center these. Can make them go all the way to the right. I like them centered. So before you ungroup or before you add pattern, you can change the text. Once you do that, you cannot change the text. Make sure it's how you want it and everything is spelled correctly. Okay, let's click layers. So now we're going to change this to be a pattern fill and put it to patterns. So now we're ready. So I'm going to scroll through the patterns, see what I like. Let's try this one. That looks kind of cool. Let's edit it. Could make it a little smaller or larger. That one's kind of cool. Let's see what happens when we hit go. Oh, it's too large to print. You can't print as big as you can cut. So let's make it smaller and hit go. So there, it's going to print and it's going to cut out each little line here. I don't have the bleed on. Let's turn that on. So this is how it will look with the bleed off when it's cut. And this is how it will look when it prints. But it'll cut out correctly. But I don't want it to print out each letter like that because see this piece here? It's going to cut that out all by itself. That's not what I want. So let's insert a shape. We'll just do a square. And you don't have to have it on a basic shape. You can do it on anything you want. Let's click Arrange, move to back, and I want the square to be white. And I want to center it. So I'm going to select it all by dragging a box around it and click Align and click Center. We might think it's going to print on there, but let's hit go and see what happens. It still has the bleed where it should not be cutting. And then it's going to cut out my square. That's not what I want. Can you tell me why? You should be able to tell me why. Let's select it all again. So we have both things selected. And we want to flatten because we're printing. So we're flattening the hello there onto the white paper. So let's click Flatten while they're both selected. And it is. I still had the bleed on. But you can see all of this. It's going to print that way. It's not going to cut out each tiny little image. So it's going to cut the square and print this. That's exactly what we want. Okay, let's try something else. Let's bring in a square for a card or an invitation. This is something a lot of people have trouble with. Okay, now we can change the font if we want. Let's go to Edit. Let's just put this. And I don't want it that wide on top. So let's click here and hit Enter. It'll put that on the next row. Okay, let's make it smaller. Okay, you are invited to my birthday party. I'm placing it right here where I want it. I want this to print. So I'm going to go to the Layers panel and flatten. So that looks right. So I hit go. But can you see here? Let me zoom in. Each letter has the bleed around it. That means each letter is going to cut. Because I have seen this many times in the Cricut groups on Facebook. Why is this all blurry? It's not working. It's blurry. It's blurry because you have bleed on. When you take bleed off, it looks correct, but it's still going to cut out each letter. By taking bleed off, it does not fix your problem. And then here's the piece that I wanted it on. So let's go back. Now, I did flatten it like I keep telling people to do. Do you guys know what I did wrong? Come on, you know. I just taught you. Select both the words and the background. You could click it, hit Command, and click that. They're both selected. Make sure they're both selected. Or you can drag a box around both of them. Actually, what I want to do first, well, let's drag a box around it. I want to center it. I want to center horizontally. I don't want it centered in the center of the page because I want room for an address. Okay, now it's centered. They're both selected, and we're going to flatten together. So now it's as one image. This one I'm going to hide. So when I hit go, that one's not even in our way. So now it has the square and the letters as one image. And when we hit go, it should be correct. That's how I want it. And notice I do have bleed on, but the bleed will just be around the outer edge here, not the letters, because those aren't going to cut. Those are going to print on the paper. Now another question I get, how do you make the letters cut as one word instead of separate letters? Okay, let's add text again. Let's say I want to use the word welcome. And it remembers the font I used last time. I don't want to use that same font. I'm going to use the Billionaire font. This is from the Billionaire Light Cricut cartridge. And I think you have to own it to be able to see it. So I showed you how to make the letters closer together. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and isolate the letters. And as you can see in the Layers panel, they are isolated. These letters also have a shadow in the back. So I'm going to move the letters till they're touching each other. Now, if you attach them, see where these cut lines are? Those are still going to cut out. They're not going to cut out as one. They're going to cut out each letter, and that will cut that out. There'll be like a little hole there. You need to put a box around them all and weld. Now it will cut out as one word. Let's hit go just to make sure. There we go. If we wanted to, we could set this to print. Click on patterns. I'm going to go to uploaded because I just love that one. You guys know my favorite one? This one. How pretty. And we can edit. We can change where it's at on the paper. So I can make, this is actually that pink and purple you see is in the bottom of the paper. So it's moving down to the next one. Love that. Isn't it pretty? And now it will print this. Let's see what it looks like printed, because it does have the bleed on it, so it's not going to look perfectly, but it's going to print as one piece. So it looks like that. That's how it should look, as I just want this print cut out as one piece. If I take the bleed off, that's how it will look once it's cut. But it keeps this on just as an insurance policy, that you don't see any of the white around it. And remember, when you're printing, you do have to use white paper or a light colored paper, or there are ways to cheat on dark colored paper, but that's a little more advanced. If I want more than one of these cut out, I can just click apply, however many I want. I change the number to 3 and clicked apply, and it will do 3 of them. So I use that instead of copying and pasting or duplicating when I want more than one project. Okay, I think I've covered everything, except for maybe these buttons, the copy, paste, and select. Once I hit cut or copy, the paste button will show up. I don't use these 3 buttons. I just like to use the duplicate because it's one button and it does what copy and paste does with 2. I can click copy and then paste, and it does the same thing as duplicate. And then this button is select all. If I have a lot of things on my canvas, I can click select all and it selects them all. I could align them, center horizontally. So I think I've covered everything, inserting the text and finding them, uploading many different kinds of images, inserting shapes and using the score tool, adding text, and setting the canvas. So if you wanted to write on a wine glass, this is the size of the average wine glass. Let's click canvas. This is a water goblet. We can change it to sparkling wine, which to me that looks like a margarita, champagne, or cocktail. And you can change the size to custom. So you can put, if you know the size of your glass, you can change that. So like if I wanted to put this on it, I would size it down here. Look at that. Oh, that's still a little bigger than what I want. So put it there. That's what the canvases are for. Now let's talk about cards and envelopes. I know this video is long, but you can pause it at any time and go back to Design Space and try what you've learned so far. There's also an index in the description, so you can click on any part of the video that you want a refresher on or that you maybe didn't understand. Okay, cards and envelopes. This is something a lot of people have question on. How do I size them? Because I tried to make it a bigger size, but look how big it is. It says it's 16.5 inches wide, but I really don't know how big my card will end up. So I have a solution for that. Click on Insert Shape, take out a square. So I'm taking this square up and sizing it to fit the card. It's a gatefold card, so you size it in between the 2 score lines. Now you can look in the edit panel and see exactly what size that is. That's not a regular size, although you can make the card any size you want. Whatever size you stretch it to is the size you can do. And the envelope, because it's grouped with it, it will also fit that card. So whatever size this card is, as long as they're still grouped together, they will size correctly. So you can make it any size you want. You can also do the same thing with the envelope, and it will fit. But all we really have to do is size this to the size we want. We can just go over here in the edit panel and click the width. I sized it at 4.25 by 5.5. That's a regular A2 size card, and this is not big enough to fit that. I'm going to zoom out so I can see it better. I still want this a little bigger. I like to have a little extra room in the envelope, and I think this will fit that. That will fit in the envelope. Now let's say I just had a card. I know my card is 4.25 by 5.5. So all I have to do is make sure the square is 4.25 and 5.5. Now my card is 4.25 by 5.5. So I can size the envelope to fit to my card. If you made a card by hand and not even in Design Space, you can still choose any envelope to fit to your card. This is the size they are when they come in. They're just over 2.5 inches high, and then you size it however you want. Let's make it bigger. Some people think it's really hard to size because this is a shaped card. But really, you see the score line right here, and you just make a box the size of the card that you want it to end up to be, and stretch it out. Now, if you wanted to ungroup these at any time, make sure you're done sizing. Don't ungroup them and then size. It'll be more difficult because it's already sized for us. So that's how to size cards and envelopes. It's pretty easy. Okay, now let's go over here to File. And here we can go to the Make It Now projects, a new project, which it is right now because it's a clear screen, and My Projects in Save As. Let me show you these for a minute. Do you want to save the project? There's no project here, so no, I don't want to save it. And here is the list of my projects. Right now, there is no search feature unless you use the one in your browser. And there's no way to put these in folders at the moment. They're always improving Design Space. When they add new features, I'll put them below in the description into more videos. So if you're looking for this, look in the description of the video and see if there's a new one. And you'll see over here, Public. If this option is checked, then you can copy and paste the URL to share with your friends. If it is unchecked, then you can access your project from this account only. To share a project, all you do is go up into the address bar, and you can't see that right now because it's not in the recording area, but it will be the us.cricut.com/design and #/canvas. It's the number at the end of the URL that's really important. That's the number for the project. All you need is that number to put at the end of a URL from your project. The reason these are not checked is because something was uploaded. If I upload an SVG or just an image, I cannot share it. I don't have the option to check them myself. Design Space does that for us. Here is a project of a basic card I made. I reuse this one a lot. I can edit the name of it here. I can click uncheck if I don't ever want to share it, but this is one I do share. I'm going to click Save. Because I just saved it again, it went up to the top. So if you have projects that you like to use a lot, you can resave them and they go back to the top. Now, as you saw, I had the option to save this one, but I don't have the option on this one because this is an SVG. Let's open this one. This is just a basic card I made with basic shapes. Now let's say I want to change it a little because I want to use it as a thank you card. So let's go over here to the edit panel. I'm just going to do this really quick. Here's something I don't think I have shown you is the line spacing. You can make them closer together like that. Did you see that? It's further apart or closer together. So there's my thank you card. Instead of cutting out those letters, I think I want to change them to right. So I'm going to go up here to the Layers panel, and I'm going to click the scissors, and I'm going to change it to right there. Now the problem is, it's not going to write on here. Let me hit go and show you. I'm showing you this because this is a problem I've been asked many, many times. See, it wants to write down there, where there's no paper. I want it to write on this paper. So let's hit the X. So I'm going to select the words. I'm going to hit my Command key on my Mac or Control or Shift on a PC, and then click this layer. So I can see right here, my words are here, the paper I wanted on are here, and now I'm going to hit Attach. Now what happened to my other image? Because I attached, it brings it to the front. So we're going to click Arrange, and we're going to move it backward. There we go. Now it's exactly how I want it. But now I changed that basic card. It's no longer a basic card. It's a thank you card. I don't want to lose my basic card because I want to make more cards using just the basic part. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to click Save As. And I'm going to call it a basic thank you. You can name these anything you want, and I'm going to click Save. And it tells me my project was saved successfully. Now I want to show you how to find out what font you used. I made this word thanks. It's welded. And if I click on it in the Layers panel and then click the little I, it'll tell me what font I used or what cartridge your image came from, what type of font, and if it was purchased or in the subscription. So this font has been ungrouped and I welded it together and it still shows me what font I've used. I want to show you how to edit your custom materials. let's hit go. I have my Cricut Explore Air on. I'm just going to cut this out on this color material. But I'm going to use chipboard. And when I did a test cut, it didn't cut quite out. So let's hit go. If you only have one Cricut paired to your computer, you won't have this option. It'll just say what Cricut it is. So I need to select my Cricut Bluetooth. I have the dial set to custom, all the way to the left. On light chipboard. But I want to make a cutout one extra time. So I'm going to click Edit Custom Material. So I'm going to scroll down to chipboard. These are all in order of the cut pressure. I love that Cricut has set up all these settings for us. There's no more guessing on any material. Chipboard light, right here. It will cut out 2 times. I think it needs to be cut out 1 extra time. So I'm going to click the little blue edit icon right here. Now I could change the pressure to be a little bit more or less, but I really just want to change this to cut 3 times. I could change the blade depth if I wanted to. This is just a guide to remind me of what blade to use. And I'm going to click Save. So now when I click on Chipboard Light, it's going to cut it out 3 times instead of 2. And click Done. Now my Chipboard Light will cut out 3 times. You can make it do as many as you need. Now I can click the X just to go back to the canvas, or I can click here back to Preview. Do you want to cancel this cut? Yes, I do. Because in case I wanted to click on something else, if I had more layers, or wanted to edit anything on the screen, I could do that here. Here are a few more features of Cricut Design Space. Down here where the green arrows are pointing is the zoom. Right here, you can zoom in, so you can see things closer. And you can zoom out. So if you have a lot of things on your canvas, you'll be able to see them all. Or if you want to make something really big, you can do that with zooming in so you can see the entire thing. Let's go back to 100%. And as you can see, I lost my image. Really, you only need to scroll over to the left and back to the top. And there it is. And remember, if you want to turn off the grid lines, you can just click here. And something about the panels over here. As you know, there's the Layers, Edit, Sync, and Canvas, as we've gone through them all. But if you wanted to see 2 at the same time, you can pull it down here. I use this a lot when I want to change the size of different layers. And you can do that with any of the layers you want. So I could have 2 of them here and 2 of them here. Or pull them all down here and have 3 here and only 1 on top. If that doesn't satisfy you, you can also pull it over here. You can drag it to any size you like. So if you want it the full size, if you had many layers, and just drag it back over here whenever you want. So I just wanted to let you know that you have those options. And if you click these 3 little dots here, it gets rid of them to make your canvas larger. Personally, I need these panels when I'm designing. But I just wanted to show you all the options you have. You can also go down here to Help. This will tell you the latest information you're using. This is what I'm using right now. You can also click this, and it will take you to the Cricut website to give you lots of support. And if you're having trouble with something that doesn't help you in this video, you can call support or chat online when they're online. They just added to their customer support team. So their hours are going to expand, and their chat online hours are expanding really soon. And here you can find out what's new. They're always expanding Design Space and adding new features. So if you're watching this video months after I released it, there might be something new here. And anytime something new comes up, I do make a video on that. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. Here's my YouTube channel to subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any new updates to Cricut Design Space. If you've never been here before, you can scroll down. These are my uploads. And then I have some playlists here that will help you. And to subscribe, it's free. You just click the subscribe button and then click this little gear and then click on send me notifications for this channel and click save. It's really easy. If you've missed any of my other videos, I have almost 800 videos. You can go to my videos page and see all my videos and click load more to see more. I have a lot of videos on Design Space. I've been creating them since January 2013. So there's an awful lot. So if you've missed anything, just go to this page and look for what you want to see. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments of the video. I know there'll still be lots of questions, and I will answer all of the questions that are in the comments of the video. So if you're watching this on Facebook, click on the little YouTube icon and it'll take you to YouTube. And there you can ask and I will answer. So if others have the same questions, they can look down in the comments for the questions and the answers. I want to thank everyone who has watched this video this far. I truly appreciate it. And thank you for subscribing. It's all my subscribers who keep me motivated. And if it was not for my Patreon supporters, I would not have been able to do this video. It would have taken 6 to 9 months instead of the 1 month it did. So here is a list of all my Patreon supporters who I truly, truly appreciate. And I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, here's some shapes. I kind of feel like I'm in kindergarten. This is a circle, and this is a triangle. I like the, whoops.